Hi, Price. I'm Jacqueline LePori.
Price, nice to meet you.
I'm a reporter with the Council of Supply Chain Management Professionals.
Okay.
And as you know, we'd like to feature your company, Johnny Appleseed Farms, in one of our web articles and potentially for a monthly newsletter out towards the members of the Council of Supply Chain Management Professionals. I'd like to ask you a few questions just so we can get a good understanding of your business and everything before we make this article.
Sure. That sounds great. I'm thrilled that you're interested in our farm and I'm sharing what you do with other supply chain professionals throughout our nation. What would you like to know about our company?
Well, for starters, why don't you give me a brief background of your company?
Sure.
Tell me about where you're located and when the company came into existence.
Well, Johnny Appleseed Farms is located in northern Massachusetts. I may be a little biased, but I truly believe that the best apples come from New England states. Although New England as a whole is only responsible for about 1.6% of the nation's apples, I think that our quality far goes past quantity. The farm has been a part of my The farm has been a part of my family since the early 1900s, and the ownership has been passed down from generation to generation. We traditionally have sold apples to packagers to later send on to grocery retailers, and we have even let consumers come to our farm and pick their own apples on special occasions. But we have recently changed over to the sliced apple industry, and as it is so far, it's about a lot more profitable.
Awesome. Well, that's really interesting. So what drawbacks did you experience in selling apples to retail outlets and to grocers and then allowing consumers to pick the apples themselves? There must be a reason why you changed over to the sliced industry from what you were doing before.
Okay. Well, to be put simply, there has been an increased market for sliced apples instead of just whole apples. Fast food restaurants are beginning to use their own packaging and put them in as a side eating dish and stuff like that. Elementary schools are offering packages of sliced apples in their lunchrooms, and they're even becoming more prevalent in refrigerated vending machines. So we were able to be more profitable in the cooperative part of the industry, where you have to use a portion of the farm where hired workers picked and sent apples to be packaged for retail, and a portion where consumers could even pick their own apples. But during these busy times of season, we've had a difficult time managing crowd control, as you may have understood. We also can't sell any apples that have been dropped, and people picking apples for fun typically aren't as careful as a hired worker might be. So there were times when we lost nearly half the crop designated to self-picking due to the carelessness of our customers. And when I took over the farm, one of our first things I wanted to do was end self-picking and instead sell all our apples to packagers.
Oh, okay. So allowing consumers to self-pick was basically a waste of your resources. So what were the benefits of hiring workers to pick the apples and then selling all of your apples to packagers?
Well, there were a lot, actually. First and foremost, most of our apples were actually picked properly and not dropped on the ground. And not to mention, the hired workers were earned a salary, and we had more of an incentive to work well and pick apples much more quickly.
Interesting. So I can definitely see how hiring workers would allow you to control the quality of your product and to be more profitable in the long run.
Correct.
You mentioned earlier that you're now involved in a cooperative in the sliced apple market. So can you tell me a little bit more about that cooperative and who it is that you're working with?
Sure. We joined a cooperative with the company called Champlain Valley Specialty, or CVS, out of New York City. They were one of the pioneers for slicing and packaging apples in the early 2000s, and we joined this cooperative with about 20 or so other apple producers. We agreed to some important terms, and we produce apples according to the specifications pertaining to size, color, and other physical attributes. They pay us a down payment to forego other costs that we used to pay when we sold the packagers, and in return, CVS is able to have control of the apples earlier in the process than they could do typically. Working in this cooperative has allowed us to benefit by getting guaranteed business, and CVS to benefit by shortening the upward portion of their supply chain.
Okay, cool. So it's really cool that y'all both get to work together and that you're getting the benefits and CVS is also getting the benefits. It looks like we're starting to run a little bit short on time, but I'd like to ask another question if you're okay with that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so have you been able to see the operation side of the apple slicing in CVS plants?
Mm-hmm. Of course. CVS allowed me the opportunity to tour their facilities, and I learned about how they produce these things. Basically, so long as apples meet the visual requirements and they're firm enough to be sliced without being damaged, they go through the process of being sliced and packaged. Apples are cut about into 12 slices, and they're either packaged by themselves in 5 to 6 slices, or they're packaged with other items such as caramel for dipping or other fruits. CVS has a make-to-order production system to ensure that all their apples can maintain a 21-day shelf life, and apples that aren't up to par for slicing, they're put in a different section of the plant for juicing instead. All of this takes place in a refrigerated plant.
Okay, cool. So now I'm starting to get hungry for caramel apples. But Price, it looks like we're running out of time here, and I know you have a very busy schedule today. So really quickly, I'm going to summarize just a few of the key points that we talked about,
Sure.
just to make sure I've gotten things right. So correct me if I get anything wrong. Johnny Appleseed Farms is your family-owned and operated company, and it's been in your family since, you said, the early 1900s?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's operated in Massachusetts. In the past, you sold apples to retail grocers, and you allowed some customers to come onto your farms and pick their own produce. But y'all recently found out that it would be more profitable for you to go into a cooperative and to sell your apples to the sliced market. And y'all work with a company called CVS out of New York.
Right.
You told me about the process that CVS goes through to package their apples. They have a 21-day shelf life. And, of course, you think that New England's apples are the best in the nation.
That's
so
right.
Does that all sound about right to you?
That's right.
Awesome. Well, good deal. I will be in contact with you about when we will be featuring Johnny Appleseed Farms in the Council of Supply Chain Management Professionals newsletters and emails.
Sure.
So in the meantime, just keep in touch, and it was a great meeting with you today, Bryce.
Well, thank you, Jacqueline. I appreciate it.
All right. Have a good evening.
It's been a pleasure.
Mm-hmm.